You've only got so much that you can really give as a writer, and if you try and push too hard, you can put yourself out of commission for weeks. So in this video, I want to talk about avoiding burnout and basically how to pace yourself as a freelance writer, I guess. So how much should you write per day to avoid burnout? I would say you want to ramp up, obviously. So when you're starting out, you might only be able to write like 500 words or for like 30 minutes or an hour per day. So start with what feels comfortable for you. Don't strain it. And then once you're up to a good schedule and you've got the clients to support it, I would say try and aim for like 4 hours of writing per day, probably. You're going to have other admin stuff that you have to do for your business anyways, like pitching and cold reaching out to other clients, and you're going to have to do invoicing and just replying to emails and stuff like that. So if you do four hours a day of actual writing, maybe even 4 hours including like research and editing and proofreading and stuff, then you'll have potentially 4 hours to do all of the other stuff that you need to do with your business. So my next tip would be start early and get it out of the way. For me personally, I like waking up at like 5 or 6 a.m. I can sit down the morning, everything's still quiet, nothing is started up, there's no distractions, so you just sit down and get it out of the way. If you're a night person though, do whatever works for you, but try and find that time of the day that you are most productive. You'll probably already know what that is. Like even when I worked in an office, I knew that I started off really good, like really productive in the morning, and then towards the end of the day, I was like, by noon, I had my lunch, and then I was full of food, and then I just wanted to nap the rest of the day. So yeah, start early if that works for you, or if it's better off working in the evening, do that instead. The other way you can avoid burnout is by rewarding yourself. So right before you'll eat lunch, or like if you want to play video games or something, make yourself sit down and write first. So what I'll do is I'll sit down and I'll write a blog article before I'll allow myself to have breakfast or lunch. So that's one way to motivate yourself, because you're going to be hungry until you get the work done. But in general, just kind of take a break and switch things up. If you're writing for one client, I often get these batches of like 10 or 20 articles that I have to write at once. So you can write 1 or 2 articles for a client and then write a blog for your own website or whatever else you're going on, switch between clients, just so you're not writing about the same topic if you find it boring over and over. But that's my tips for avoiding burnout. If you find it helpful, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And I'm going to have more writer tips and freelance tips like this in the future to kind of help out, and stuff that I wish that I knew that I was getting started. So see you guys in the next video with some more information.